Did you know the average American household spends over $170 on cleaning supplies every single year? Yet the typical home is so cluttered and dusty that 1 in 3 of us feel deep, genuine embarrassment when an unexpected guest rings the doorbell. Meanwhile, the average Japanese senior lives in a home so consistently immaculate you could eat a sushi roll right off the bathroom floor, and they spend almost nothing to keep it that way. This has nothing to do with hiring help, nothing to do with having more hours in the day, and absolutely nothing to do with genetic tidiness. It is 15 daily habits. Habits so shockingly simple they will make you reconsider every messy moment of your life. Habits so genius you will wonder why no one ever pulled you aside and taught you. I have spent years living in Japan, watching my neighbors, my wife's grandmother in Nagano, and complete strangers in small mountain villages. And I have distilled the most powerful of these routines into this countdown. Starting at number 15, we are going to walk through the exact quiet rituals that make a Japanese home feel sacred, uncluttered, and permanently guest-ready. And by the time you finish, you will have an unbreakable blueprint to never have a dirty house again. Let us begin. Number 15. They treat the genkan like a sacred barrier. The genkan is the traditional Japanese entryway, a lowered floor area where you remove your outdoor shoes and step up into the immaculate inner home. To a Westerner, this just looks like a convenient mudroom. To a Japanese senior, the genkan is the single most important defensive line against dirt. Outdoor shoes, which have walked through city streets, train stations, and public restrooms, never under any circumstance touch the indoor living space. And here is the part we miss entirely. They do not just leave shoes in a heap by the door. Shoes are immediately placed into a closed shoe cabinet, soles never touching each other to prevent cross-contamination. The genkan floor itself is swept and wiped down with a damp cloth every single day, often every single time someone comes home. There is no pile of sneakers crusted with dried mud, no flip-flops spilling into the hallway. The message is clear: the outside world stays outside. When you look at the particulate matter research coming out of Japan, this makes shocking sense. A study from the University of Tokyo's Institute of Industrial Science found that a huge percentage of indoor floor dust is actually trapped in outdoor soil, laden with heavy metals and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons from vehicle exhaust. By stopping shoes at the genkan, Japanese seniors eliminate an enormous portion of household contaminants before they ever spread. I remember the first time I visited a friend's apartment in Saitama. His 78-year-old mother opened the door, bowed, and then watched my feet almost like a security guard. I slipped off my shoes and stepped up in my socks, and the wooden floor felt like it had just been polished with silk. That evening she told me, with complete seriousness, the genkan is the face of the house. A dirty genkan is a dirty soul. We in the West track in leaf fragments, dog waste residue, and parking lot grime. And then we wonder why our floors are never clean. Try this today. Designate an airlock zone inside your most used exterior door. Put a shoe rack there, a closed one if you can, and enforce a strict no outdoor shoes past this point rule. Put a small hand broom and dustpan right there. Every time you come in, take 5 seconds to sweep any visible debris back out the door. You will be shocked by how much less you need to vacuum. Number 14. They open every window for exactly 15 minutes every morning, no matter the weather. In Japan, this practice is so ingrained it is practically a national reflex. Even in the dead of a Hokkaido winter, when the snow is piled up to the windowsill, a Japanese grandmother will crack open every single window and sliding glass door for a ritual called kei's tushi, literally letting the wind pass through. For a quarter of an hour, the entire house exhales the stale, carbon dioxide-heavy air from a night of breathing, the humidity from sleeping bodies, the off-gassing from furniture. All of it is flushed out and replaced with crisp, moving air. This is not a casual thing. It is timed and deliberate. The windows are opened. Often a full cross breeze is created by opening front and back doors simultaneously. And then exactly 15 minutes later, the house is sealed up again, now feeling fresh and charged. The science here is both obvious and underappreciated. Japan's National Institute of Public Health has long highlighted that indoor air pollutant levels can be 2 to 5 times higher than outdoor levels, specifically volatile organic compounds from building materials, cooking, and even cleaning products. Without that daily purge, we marinate in that invisible soup. And then there is the humidity control. Japanese summers are brutally humid and still. Seniors crack the windows at dawn before the heat truly builds, to carry away the moisture that breeds tatami mold and dust mites. I once stayed at a rural ryokan run by an 83-year-old woman at 6 a.m. Sharp, while I was still groggy, I heard the unmistakable sound of wooden frames sliding open one after another. A few minutes later, a breeze carrying the smell of wet pine from the mountain forest swept through the entire building. She told me in a soft voice that the house is alive, and it needs to breathe just like we do. If we trap our breath, we get sick. So does a house. The Western alternative is sealing ourselves into climate-controlled boxes, recycling air through dusty ducts, and wondering why we wake up with headaches and stuffy noses. Tomorrow morning, before your coffee, before your phone, walk through your home and open every window you can. Set a timer for 15 minutes. Feel the movement of air on your skin. Make this a non-negotiable, daily biological reset for your home. Number 13. They wipe with a damp cloth, never a dry one. This is the newer Zokin method, and it upends almost everything we think about dusting. Walk into any American supermarket, and you will see an aisle dedicated to fluffy synthetic dusters, electrostatic disposable wands, and feathered sticks. They promise to trap dust. In reality, they fling it. They agitate fine particles off the surface and suspend them in the air, where they drift around on microcurrents for hours, only to resettle onto every other surface you just cleaned. Japanese seniors use none of these. Their tool is a simple, old cotton cloth, wet thoroughly under warm water, and then wrung out so tightly it feels almost dry to the touch. They then fold it into a neat pad and wipe every hard surface, from wooden cabinets to kitchen counters to window sills. Because the cloth is slightly damp, it grips dust particles without launching them. It holds onto them physically. After a single pass, the cloth is gray and the surface is truly clean. This simple act changes the entire physics of house cleaning. A team of researchers at the Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology published a paper examining particle dispersion during indoor cleaning, and what they found was that damp wiping reduces airborne particulate matter by an astonishing margin compared to dry sweeping or dusting. The difference is not marginal. It is the difference between removing dust from your environment and just rearranging it in your lungs. I will admit, I was a lazy duster. I used those colorful, fluffy things and called it a day. Then my wife's aunt, a tiny, energetic woman in her late 70s, visited our home in California. She said nothing, but I saw her run a single damp finger along our bookshelf and then look at the gray smudge on her fingertip with a mixture of pity and horror. She quietly fetched an old washcloth from the kitchen, got it damp, and wiped the shelf properly. The cloth turned nearly black. She smiled and said, "This is the only way." Now I keep a stack of cut-up old towels under the kitchen sink, and every evening after dinner, I take one, wet and wring it, and spend exactly 3 minutes wiping the most used surfaces. The cloth gets dirty. My air does not. Try it tonight. Take an old t-shirt or dish towel, wet and wring it completely, and wipe your bedroom dresser top. Look at the cloth. That dirt would have been floating around your breathing zone by morning. Number 12. They clean their cleaning tools until those tools look new again. This is Soji Dagu no Tear, and it is the quietest, most profound twist in their entire system. In the West, the psychology of cleaning tools is almost grotesque. We push a dirty mop around a sticky bucket of gray water. Then we shove the wet, bacteria-laden mop head into a dark closet to fester until the next use. The vacuum cleaner bag is filled with months of old filth. The kitchen sponge sits damp and smelling faintly of decay. The broom has a fringe of hair and lint tangled at the bristle tips. So when we go to clean, we are essentially polluting our homes with our dirty tools. Japanese seniors do the exact opposite. After every single use, the cleaning cloth is rinsed with soap and water until the water runs clear. And then it is hung outside in the sun to dry and sanitize naturally. The broom is picked clean by hand, each bristle freed of fluff. The dustpan is wiped so it does not leave a dusty streak the next time it touches the floor. The rubber squeegee blade in the bathroom is rinsed free of soap scum. I witnessed this firsthand in an almost surreal way. I was visiting an old friend in Kanazawa, and his 84-year-old neighbor invited us in for tea. After tea, she wiped the low table with a cloth. Then, instinctively, she walked to the sink and washed the cloth with soap and hung it on a little drying rack on her sunny balcony. I realized her cleaning cloth was whiter than my best guess towels. That moment recalibrated my entire understanding. If the tool is dirty, the work is cursed before it begins. There is a practical, invisible consequence here. A dirty mop spreads E. coli and mold spores across the floor. A greasy rag leaves a film. The psychological effect of picking up a pristine tool is also huge. It signals that cleaning is a noble, serious act, not a grimy chore to be endured. From now on, the last step of any cleaning session must be cleaning the tool itself. Invest 2 extra minutes. Wash the mop head in hot water. Scrub the sponge under boiling water and leave it to dry not in a puddle but in a ventilated holder. Watch how much more you want to clean when your tools feel like precision instruments. Number 11. Every single item in the home has a designated home, and it returns there immediately after use. The Japanese phrase is shaka no basho, the place where things belong. This is not about being a neat freak. It is about a fundamental agreement between you and your belongings. The scissors go in this little tray. The remote controls sit on this exact corner of the low table. The keys hang on this hook. The reading glasses are placed on this small lacquer stand. There is no ambiguity, no temporary resting spot, no pile of random objects that accumulates on the kitchen counter like a sedimentary rock formation of modern life. When a Japanese senior finishes using something, and I mean the very nanosecond it is no longer needed, the hand automatically moves to return it. It is so ingrained, it is not even a conscious decision. The benefit this provides for a clean home is almost impossible to overstate. When every surface is bare, cleaning becomes effortless. You do not have to move 15 items to wipe a counter. You do not have to excavate a desk to dust it. You simply run a cloth over an open, empty plane. There is no visual noise. And visual noise, as neuroscientists at Princeton University have shown, creates a measurable cognitive load. A cluttered environment competes for your visual processing resources and raises background stress. In Japan, this is amplified by the cultural concept of the powerful use of empty space. Space itself is considered beautiful. An objectless corner is not empty, it is full of potential. I used to be a serial leaver. I left books on tables, chargers on the floor, mail in a driftwood pile. My excuse was always I was just too busy. My turning point came when I spent a weekend in a tiny Tokyo apartment with a retired calligrapher. His home was about 200 square feet. Every brush, every inkstone, Every scroll had a precise spot. In 2 days, I never once saw an object out of place. It was not because he was constantly tidying. It was because the system was so frictionless. Returning things was faster than dropping them. I went home and spent an entire Sunday doing nothing, but assigning a permanent location to every single loose item I owned. The following week, my cleaning time was cut by more than half. This week, walk through your home with a notepad. Identify everything that lives on your counters, your dining table, your nightstand. For each one, ask where its permanent home is. If it does not have one, give it one. Then practice the immediate return. The first time your hand puts the nail clippers directly back into the bathroom drawer, instead of on the coffee table, you will feel a mental exhale you did not know you needed. Number 10. The kitchen is put to bed spotless every single night without exception. In Japanese, yagor wa sono hai no uchitnai, messes stay in their own day. The idea that you could cook a meal, eat it, and then leave a sink full of soaking pans and a stovetop spattered with oil until tomorrow morning is culturally incomprehensible to a Japanese senior. The kitchen is often considered the spiritual heart of the home, and to go to sleep with it in a state of chaos is to invite stagnation and decay into your life. The ritual is concrete. After dinner, the dishes are washed, dried, and put away immediately. There is no drying rack left as permanent storage. The sink is scrubbed with a little bit of baking soda or mild cleanser until it gleams white. The drain strainer is emptied and rinsed. The stovetop is wiped down with a damp cloth, removing every droplet of oil before it can oxidize into a sticky yellow polymer. The counters are cleared and wiped. The dishcloth is washed and hung to dry. The entire room is then surveyed, with the satisfaction of a pilot landing a plane safely. The health implications of this habit are stark. A study conducted by Japan's Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare on household hygiene pointed to the kitchen sink and surrounding areas as one of the primary reservoirs for foodborne pathogens like Campylobacter and Salmonella. Leaving food residue overnight is effectively laying out a feast for bacteria, which then double in the warm, humid darkness. By morning, that invisible biofilm is all over the surfaces you will use to prepare breakfast. And then there are the pests. Japan's humid summers make a crumb left overnight an open invitation to cockroaches. The elderly have seen this, and they live by a zero-tolerance policy. I will share an embarrassing memory. During my first year, living in a small apartment in Osaka, I came home exhausted one night and left my curry pot soaking in the sink. At about 2 a.m., I got up for water and turned on the kitchen light. A large, glossy cockroach was sitting right on the rim of the pot. I have never left a dirty dish overnight since. An 80-year-old neighbor later told me gently that a clean kitchen is the first line of self-defense. It is not a chore. It is protection. Tonight, after your final meal, do not sit down until the kitchen is completely reset. Run a sponge over every surface. Shine the sink. Put the drying towel away. Walk out and turn off the light knowing the room is in a state of perfect rest. You will sleep differently. Number 9. The bathroom is dried like a bone after every single use. This is Yokoshitsu no Mizukiri, and it is one of the most physically satisfying habits you can adopt. Japanese bathing culture is legendary, but the critical part happens after the soak. The bathroom in a typical Japanese home is a wet room, meaning the entire floor, walls, and tub are designed to get soaked. But they are never, ever left to dry on their own. A senior will finish their bath, and then, before leaving the room, they will pick up a simple rubber squeegee and systematically scrape every drop of water off the walls, the floor, and the edges of the tub down toward the drain. Then they will take a small, dedicated towel and wipe down any remaining dampness on fixtures and crevices. Then they turn on the powerful ventilation fan, and sometimes a small dehumidifier, and within 20 minutes the whole room is arid and silent. The reason this matters so viscerally is mold. Black mold, pink slime, the musty smell that clings to American bathroom grout and shower curtains. Mold spores need prolonged moisture to germinate. A study by the Japanese Society of Allergology has shown a direct correlation between indoor dampness, visible mold, and the prevalence of asthma and allergic rhinitis. By physically removing standing water, Japanese seniors break the chain of humidity that mold requires. The bathroom never develops that faintly sour, fungal odor. Grout stays white for decades. I used to think a bathroom with a window would dry itself. I was slapped into reality when a Japanese friend visited my home and asked, in genuine confusion, why I let my shower walls stay wet. She demonstrated with a squeegee. The amount of water I had been leaving to evaporate into the air was staggering. A whole additional reservoir of moisture released into my house. I bought a $10 squeegee the next day. Now, after every shower, I spend 40 seconds doing the walls and the glass door. The bathroom smells neutral and fresh, like a sunlit stone. The towel I use to dry the fixtures is bone dry by morning. No more bleach sprays, no more black spots in the corners. If you do one thing after this countdown, install a simple squeegee hook in your shower at chest height. After your next wash, scrape the water downward. Watch how clean and bright your bathroom looks with 0 standing droplets. It feels like a small, daily victory over decay. Number 8. The futon or bedding is aired and reshaped every morning without negotiation. The Western bed is a crypt of moisture. We wake up, throw the duvet over the sweaty sheets, trapping 8 hours of body heat. Sweat and skin flakes in a warm, dark envelope that is perfect for dust mites. Japanese seniors, who traditionally sleep on futons placed directly on tatami mats, follow a ritual called futon no tenki. Each morning before anything else, the futon is folded, picked up, and draped over a balcony railing or a specialized indoor drying rack. The mattress gets direct sunlight and moving air for at least an hour. The sheets are shaken out. The pillows are fluffed and set upright to air. If there is no sun, they are still moved and exposed to airflow inside the house. The tatami underneath is allowed to breathe. What this accomplishes is the mass execution of dust mites. Dust mites do not drink water. They absorb it from the air through their bodies, and their primary source of humidity is our sleeping breath and sweat. Remove that moisture by UV exposure and ventilation, and their population crashes. Research from the Institute of Medical Science at the University of Tokyo has documented how dramatically mite allergen levels drop when traditional futon sunning is practiced regularly. You can smell the difference. There is a specific word in Japanese for the scent of sun-dried bedding, and it carries a visceral sense of cleanliness and health. I watched my host mother in a homestay program do this every day. Her movements were swift and graceful. She would lift the heavy futon onto the balcony rail, beat it gently with a plastic hand beater shaped like a paddle, and let it bask. At night the bed smelled like warm cotton fields. It was one of the most comforting sensations I have ever experienced. In the West, we have deep, heavy mattresses that cannot be hung outside. But the principle applies. Every morning, pull your sheets and duvet all the way down to the foot of the bed. Open the curtains wide. Let sunlight blast the surface of the mattress for an hour. If you can, open a window in the bedroom to get cross-ventilation. Do not make the bed until the mattress has had a chance to cool and dry. This singular adjustment will radically reduce that stale, animal scent that clings to bedrooms and might just calm your allergies to a whisper. Number 7. They practice a steady, gentle form of dancharai, which means refusal, disposal, and separation from unnecessary things. This is not a one-time Marie Kondo purge. For Japanese seniors, it is a continuous low-grade filtration of objects. Every week or month, without drama, a drawer is opened and inspected. An old receipt is thrown out. A piece of clothing that has not been worn in a season is folded neatly and set aside for donation. A gadget that was a gift but never used is passed on to a younger relative. The mantra is simple. If it does not actively serve your daily life, it does not deserve space in your home. The impact on cleanliness is direct and mathematical. Every single object you own is a dust collector. A knickknack on a shelf collects dust on its top and requires individual wiping. A stack of magazines on the floor is a fortress for dust bunnies. A closet crammed with old coats is a reservoir for moth larvae and must. When a Japanese senior reduces the number of surfaces and the density of objects, they reduce the total surface area for grime to settle. The house becomes easier to clean. But more than that, it becomes easier to live in. I remember visiting the home of an elderly tea ceremony master in Kyoto. The room was almost bare, just a hanging scroll, a simple flower arrangement, and a dark wooden floor that reflected the light. I asked her if she ever felt the urge to buy more things. She smiled and said, "Emptiness is not a lack. It is the space in which beauty can breathe." The Western mindset is the opposite. We accumulate. We rent storage units. We feel a strange loyalty to objects that do nothing for us but create guilt and labor. I began my own dancharai slowly. I started with my sock drawer. I threw away every sock with a hole. I removed socks that squeezed my toes. I was left with 10 perfect pairs. The drawer instantly felt serene. I moved to my kitchen gadgets. I got rid of the avocado slicer, the strawberry huller, the 3 extra spatulas. Suddenly, my kitchen counter was clear. This weekend, take a single garbage bag and a single donation box. Walk into the room you dread most. For 30 minutes, touch every single item and ask if you have used it in the past year. If not, put it in one of the containers, then remove it from your home. Do not store it. Do not wait for a garage sale. Expel it. You will feel the house physically lighten, as if it has been holding its breath for years and finally exhaled. Number 6. They rely on natural cleaning agents that cost pennies and leave no toxic residue. The Japanese phrase is shizen no sojizai, and it reflects a deep cultural comfort with ancestral materials. The elderly do not walk down the chemical aisle, searching for a neon blue spray that promises to murder all germs in a 30-second contact time. They reach for rice bran, use tea leaves, cooking vinegar, and baking soda. A cut lemon and a little salt will scrub a cutting board. Strong green tea, brewed and cooled, is used to clean and polish dark wood, as the tannins have a gentle restorative effect. White vinegar diluted with water is a universal glass and mirror cleaner that leaves no streaks. Baking soda paste is used to scrub the sink and the tea-stained interiors of ceramic cups. There is no acrid chemical fog that hangs in the air after cleaning. Instead, there is a faint, edible scent of citrus or green tea. The health implications for seniors, who often have more sensitive respiratory systems, are profound. Many synthetic cleaning products contain volatile organic compounds that irritate the eyes, throat, and lungs. A study from a Japanese Environmental Health Institute found that the indoor air concentration of certain VOCs can spike dramatically immediately after using commercial spray cleaners. Seniors who avoid these and use natural alternatives are protecting their lungs even as they protect their countertops. I was profoundly skeptical about vinegar as a cleaner until I visited my wife's grandmother. She was cleaning the bathroom mirror with a spray bottle of what looked like water. She laughed when I asked her brand. She said it was just rice vinegar from the kitchen, watered down. She wiped it with old newspaper, a classic Japanese trick, and the mirror became perfectly, invisibly clean. No film, no blue streaks, no headache from the fumes. I went home and threw away my arsenal of plastic bottles. I replaced them with a single spray bottle of white vinegar and another of diluted Castile soap. My cleaning cabinet went from a hazardous waste site to a pantry extension. I saved money and my house smelled like nothing at all, which is the true scent of purity. Today, try making one staple cleaner. Mix 1 part white vinegar with 1 part water in a spray bottle. Add the peel of a lemon if you want a fresh scent. Use it on your windows, your mirrors, and your sealed countertops. Wipe with a dry cloth or newspaper. Watch how it cuts through grime without a single choking chemical. You will never go back. Number 5. They treat cleaning as a form of silent meditation, not as a frantic panic. The phrase is sojiwa meso. In Zen temples, young monks are assigned the role of sweeping the garden paths and wiping the long wooden corridors every single day, not to keep things immaculate, though it does, but to train the mind. The rhythmic, repetitive motion of sweeping or wiping pulls the focus away from the chattering ego and into the present moment. Japanese seniors absorb this cultural blueprint deeply. When an elderly woman slowly wipes the top of a tansu chest, she is not rushing to check it off a to-do list. She is breathing. She is fully in her body. She is listening to the soft sound of the damp cloth on wood grain. She is, in a very real sense, meditating. This reframe is the secret engine that makes all the other habits sustainable. In the West, we approach cleaning with a siege mentality. We let the mess build up until we are disgusted, and then we attack it angrily. Blasting music to drown out our resentment, working until we are exhausted and sore. Swearing we will never let it get that bad again. And of course we do. Over and over. The Japanese elder bypasses this cycle entirely by stripping the negative emotional charge. Cleaning is not a punishment for being messy. It is a gentle daily practice that keeps the home and mind aligned. I tested this on myself during a phase of high anxiety. I decided that instead of dreading my Saturday morning deep clean, I would do a tiny bit each day and treat it as a sensory anchor. I focused on the warmth of the water, the texture of the cloth, the smell of the wood. I noticed that my nervous system actually began to calm down during the process. I was not just cleaning the counter. I was sweeping the mental clutter out of my brain. Researchers at Kyoto University have studied the psychological effects of household tasks and found that mindful, gentle engagement with one's environment can lower cortisol and elevate mood. The task did not change, the mind did. Your challenge is this. The next time you wipe down the kitchen table, do not listen to a podcast. Do not mentally compose your grocery list. Just feel the motion. Notice the transformation of the surface from greasy to glassy. Take 3 long breaths while you do it. Treat the act as your 5-minute mental reset. If cleaning feels like a gift to yourself rather than a sentence, you will do it with a lightness that keeps your home effortlessly clean. Number 4. The entire house undergoes a sunset reset, a moment when the day is gently closed. This is Yugata no Katazuke. As the natural light begins to soften and the evening approaches, many Japanese seniors initiate a brief, 15-minute ritual where the home is pulled back to its baseline. The cushions on the floor sofa are fluffed and aligned. The teacups are brought to the sink and rinsed. The day's newspaper is folded and placed in the recycling stack. The small toys of visiting grandchildren are tucked into their basket. The windows that were opened wide all day are closed, or just slightly cracked depending on the season. The entryway light is turned on. This reset serves a dual purpose. First, it closes the chapter of daytime activity. The chaos of the day, no matter how small, is gently put to rest. The home transitions gracefully from the active, bright yang of daylight into the quiet, restorative yin of night. Second, and perhaps more powerfully, it guarantees that the morning will be greeted with a pristine canvas. Waking up to a tidy room is one of the most underrated forms of self-care. When a Japanese senior opens their eyes, the slippers are placed neatly by the futon. The sliding screens are aligned, and there is no visual debt waiting to be paid. Psychologically, this reduces the cortisol spike that many people experience upon seeing accumulated mess first thing in the morning. I learned this habit from a tea ceremony teacher I studied with. She told me the evening tidy was like writing the final stroke of a calligraphy piece. Without it, the day felt incomplete. She would walk slowly through her quiet house, touching a cushion here, straightening a scroll there, her movements a kind of benediction. The house seemed to settle and sigh. I began experimenting with my own version. At sunset, around 6 p.m., I set a timer for 10 minutes. My family and I would walk the main floor and put everything back in its home. Lights were dimmed slightly. The transformation in our evenings was immediate. The mood shifted from frantic to peaceful. We slept better. Tonight, about an hour before you go to bed, do a quiet walkthrough. Do not scrub. Just reset. Fluff the pillows on your sofa. Put the stray papers in a neat stack. Wipe the coffee table so it is clear. Turn on a small lamp. As you do this, mentally release the day. Tomorrow morning, you will walk out into a space that feels like a sanctuary. Number 3. They employ the daily 5-minute deep zone clean. The Japanese phrase is Mainishi no Gofun Soji. This is the strategic counterpunch to the Western weekend cleaning marathon. The logic is simple. A huge, exhausting, hours-long cleaning session is destined to fail because your brain will rebel against it. It will learn to hate cleaning. You will procrastinate. The mess will compound. Instead, the senior chooses one tiny, specific zone each day. On Monday, it is the top drawer of the bathroom vanity. Everything comes out, the drawer interior is wiped, only essentials go back in. On Tuesday, it is a single shelf in the refrigerator. On Wednesday, it is the blades of the ceiling fan. On Thursday, it is the windowsill in the bedroom. The task is so absurdly small, so bite-sized, that there is no possible excuse to avoid it. 5 minutes and it is done. The magic is cumulative. Over the course of a month, 30 different deep-cleaned microzones amount to a house that has been completely detailed. And because it is staggered, the effort is never felt. The house simply exists in a permanent state of deep clean. There is no seasonal spring cleaning panic. There is no shame spiral. An ergonomic study from a Japanese research institute found that this microtask method dramatically reduces perceived exertion and significantly increases long-term adherence to household organization among aging populations. It protects their bodies from the strain of a marathon clean while keeping their environment pristine. I was a classic weekend warrior. I would blast music on Saturday morning, scrub the whole house furiously for 3 hours, and then collapse on the couch feeling punished. By Wednesday, mess was already creeping back, and I resented it. A Japanese neighbor noticed my frantic rhythm and told me about the 5-minute method. I split my house into a mental grid of tiny sectors. I printed a simple list. Every day I ticked one off. Within 2 weeks, the observable state of my home was better than it had ever been after a weekend blitz. And I never broke a sweat. Your action item, right now, identify one drawer or one corner that has been nagging you. Set a timer for 5 minutes, no more. Open and empty it, wipe it, curate it, and put everything back beautifully. Then stop. The timer has gone off. You are done for the day. Feel the buzz of completion. Tomorrow, pick another tiny zone. Watch your home transform without you even noticing the work. Number 2. They position their cleaning tools like sacred instruments, always visible and within arm's reach. The concept is dagu wati no tadoku tokoro nai. In the typical American home, cleaning tools are hidden in shame. The vacuum is exiled to a cluttered hall closet. The dust spray is buried under the kitchen sink, behind the rusted cans of tomato sauce. The mop is leaning in some dark corner of the garage. To clean, you first must go on an archaeological dig to find your tools. This adds huge mental friction. By the time you have assembled everything, you are already irritated, and the window of motivation may have closed. In the Japanese senior's home, tools are treated with honor and accessibility. A beautiful, short-handled natural broom stands upright in a corner of the kitchen. A spray bottle of vinegar water sits on the bathroom counter. A small stack of wrung-out cleaning cloth sits in a neat pile on a small shelf. A lint roller is within reach of the genkan. The tools are not ugly or something to conceal. They are often aesthetically pleasing, made of wood and natural fibers, and they are placed exactly at the point of use. This is a masterclass in behavioral design. A famous behavior model from a university in the United States showed that the likelihood of performing a habit is determined by the convergence of motivation and ability. When ability is made frictionless, you do not need vast reserves of motivation. A small spill on the stove, the spray and cloth are right there. You wipe it in 3 seconds. There is no decision to make. I used to keep my all-purpose cleaner in a cabinet under the bathroom sink. I noticed I never wiped the counter. I moved the spray bottle and a clean microfiber cloth to sit right on the back of the toilet tank, in a little ceramic tray. The change was instantaneous. Every morning after brushing my teeth, I saw the spray. I saw a tiny water spot on the faucet, and my hand just did it. It became as automatic as flushing. Today, conduct a tool audit. Where are your daily cleaning items hidden? Bring them out. Put a beautiful, dedicated broom by the kitchen door. Put a tidy caddy on the bathroom counter. Put a basket of cloths in the laundry room. The tools are your allies. Put them where you can see them, and you will use them 10 times more often. And finally, number 1, the habit that makes all the others stick effortlessly. This is the deepest, most quietly radical practice of all. They treat their dwelling with the same gentle, active love and gratitude you would offer a living relative. This is ie no kancha, home as a recipient of thanks. In Japan, there is a long Shinto and Buddhist tradition of animism, the sense that objects, homes, and even tools possess a spirit. An elderly Japanese person may not necessarily articulate it this way in a theological sense, but they live it. You will see them bow slightly upon entering their home. They will speak to their house. They will thank the floor that supports them, the roof that shields them from rain. When they wipe the wooden hallway, they are not just cleaning. They are expressing care for the being that houses their life. Gratitude completely rewires the emotional experience of maintenance. You cannot resent caring for something you actively love. When you love your car, you wash it joyfully. When you love your home, you dust it as a caress, not a chore. The West views a house as a financial asset, a box of drywall and 2x4s that requires annoying upkeep. That mindset is a recipe for neglect. The Japanese senior views the house as a partner in their longevity. A house that is loved and kept clean will, in turn, protect you from drafts, from mold, from psychological weight, and from chaos. It is a reciprocal relationship. I once spent an afternoon with a 93-year-old woman in a tiny fishing village in my prefecture. Her house was a small wooden structure that was older than any person I had ever met. The wood glowed amber. The floors were cool and smooth. As she finished her morning wipe of the Engawa porch, I saw her put her palms together and bow slightly toward the main wooden pillar of the house. I asked her about it, and she told me, with a look of slight surprise at my question, that the pillar had held up her family for 4 generations. Of course she would thank it. I sat in the silence of that clean, grateful home, and I felt the most profound sense of peace I have ever touched. When I returned to my apartment, I stopped treating it as storage. I started treating it as a living space that deserved kindness. The anger I used to feel about chores dissolved. It was replaced by a sense of gentle duty. This is not a platitude. This is the behavioral root from which all the other 14 habits grow. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, stand in your living room for just a moment. Do not reach for your phone. Look at the walls that hold your life. Notice the floor that carries your weight. Silently or out loud, say a simple thank you. Then, from that place of gratitude, pick up your damp cloth. Start with the surface nearest to you. Move slowly. Your home will feel the shift, and so will you.